Hello everyone, welcome back to another session by K21 Academy. Today our expert trainer will be discussing about steps to create user story, Scrum board overview and product backlog. So let's get into the video.
Okay, let me go to my backlog and let me click on this. Okay, and if I say view all details, okay, and again you can just say open the link in a new tab so that you can see the things in a clearer way. So now I have my stories under it. Let me click on these stories one by one. If I click on my login page, this is my user story. See the flow here. How the flow is? It starts with your project name, it goes with your epic, and then it is your user story. Okay, this is the flow. If you just be able to see here, okay, so let me go ahead. Okay, so if you see here, this is your project name, okay, this is your epic, and this is your user story. So the flow is like that. In the Jira, you will go through your project, what you created. After that, you will be able to create your epic in your product backlog, and then you will go to that user story. This is the flow. Okay, that's what you're able to see on the top. So now what I will be doing here is, so now what we have been able to see in this case is, if you see here in the description, I can add any description. Okay, so let me say as a user, okay, as a user, I want to build a login page. Okay, I want to build a login page so that users can be able to log in to it. Okay, that's it. So this is my description. So you can add your description here saying that what is that which is required for you. As I say in the description, I mentioned that as a user, I want to build a login page so that all my users can be able to log into it. You can put whatever description you want. I just have kept a normal description. Now you have to assign this. So you will be discussing it in the sprint planning that who will be taking up this ticket. So you will have all your team members here. As of now, it is my personal account, so I'm not having anyone, so I can just take myself. Okay, so you will be getting an assignee here. You can add an assignee, and then you can scroll it down. You can mention your sprint. Okay, so if you want, you can go with your project to sprint 1. You can select this item for your project to sprint 1, and you can estimate this. You know that estimates are from, what is the estimates which we can use? We can be able to use either planning poker. Planning poker means 1 to 10. If you want to use the Fibonacci sequence, it will be 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and 21. So you have to select either from this or otherwise from 1 to 10. So 1 to 10 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the numbers. Okay, this is your planning poker. Okay, it's up to you what you want to use. Otherwise, you can use your Fibonacci sequence. I don't want to say which one you use. That is totally up to you. So we will also estimate it. So we will also estimate this user stories in the planning levels. Okay, in the plannings, in the sprint planning meeting, we can put our story point estimates here. So I will say, for example, this is an 8-pointer. That means it is a complex story. And then you can be able to say, okay, so you are done. This is what will happen in the planning. In the planning, this user story will be brought. The development team and the product owner will discuss extensively. Once the discussion is completed, then we will mark who is going to work on this ticket. Okay, and then in which sprint it will be pulled, and then those estimate for that story, whether it is a medium complexity, whether it is a high complexity, or whether it is a low complexity. You are going to put your story points for it. With that, your login page is set to be done. Now, if I go to my backlog again, if I click on my backlog here, observe the changes here. See here, your backlog is having all your user stories. Okay, that is all belong to your e-commerce platform. It is showing you that these are all are your e-commerce platform. See, if you want to delete, like close this, you can close it out so that you can be able to see only your backlog present here. See, now this is my sprint. I committed my login page into my sprint. Okay, now if I scroll it down, again, there are some of the backlog stories which are belong to e-commerce platform Epic. These all belong to e-commerce platform Epic right now. So now I want to choose any one among them. So what can I be able to choose? Let me have a look into it. So for example, I want the cart page also. So let me click on my cart page. Okay, when it is, see, it is opened very smally. So I want, I will just click on open the link in a new tab. So let me go here, and now again I can put my description, okay, saying that as a user I want to create a, okay, I want to create a cart page where I can be able to store the like my store the products, okay, whatever the products it may be, you can be able to do that and say save. Okay, so now you're, as per your description, you see that as a user you are able to create your cart page and where you can be able to store your products. Now this is done. Now this will also be assigned, right? Again, you can assign it to a different team member. In our case, I don't have any other option left. It is my name, so I am selecting, but in reality you have to choose a different person again here. Select the sprint. Now the sprint, again, in which sprint we are in? P2 sprint 1. P2 means project 2 sprint 1. And story point, let us say this is a 5 points. Who is going to estimate? Either it is the product owner or a scrum master. Who is going to estimate the story point? Can anyone say me who is responsible for estimating the user stories? Could anyone please say me?
Product owner.
No. Product owner has no right to estimate. Yes, it is always the developers. Okay, only the developers has the right to estimate the user stories. I request every one of you to please revisit the recordings. Okay, I mentioned very clearly in the estimates part that the story point estimate is always been done by the developers only. Nobody has any other right to do the estimates. It is a very, very important point. Okay, only the developers has the right to estimate. Why? Because they are responsible for delivering it. It is not the product owner or a scrum master. Product owner responsibility is to discuss about the business. Scrum master responsibility is to uplift the process. Only it is the developer's responsibility to deliver the product. Now the person who is delivering the product, only that team will be able to understand the complexity, right? So that is the reason why always your developers are important in order to estimate the user stories. Nobody else has any authority to do here. Okay, you have to be very, very clear with this point that only your developers has the right to estimate the user stories so that we can be able to do the things appropriately. So that is your story point estimate. Okay, like where we can be able to estimate all the user stories which are being there. Okay, so this is another important point which we have to consider in this case. Okay, so this is your story point estimates. Okay, so I hope that this is clear. Now in this way you have to work on. Okay, I don't want to go and try to do the same things. I am just explaining you the process so that in reality when you work, at least you can be able to have a look into it. One more good thing is this is also getting recorded. So you can also practice on your own by logging into Jira. Whatever I'm explaining it to you right now, you can also replicate the same from your end. And you can see the functionalities like how it is behaving. Okay, so now what I will do is I will go back again to my backlog. Okay, so now this is my backlog. See here, this is my product backlog. Okay, now these items I don't want in my sprint 1. I will target these items in my sprint 2. In my sprint 1, I just need the login page and cart page. That is sufficient. I don't want anything more than that. Rest of the items which are there in the backlog, right? Those items will be taken later. Right now, I don't want those items at all in the backlog part. Okay, so let it be in the product backlog. If I want to target my second sprint, I will target there. Right now, I don't want it. So if you see here, this is my sprint. But your sprint is not started yet. So you need to start your sprint. How are you going to start your sprint? Click on your start sprint. The moment you click on start sprint, it is going to ask you what is the sprint name you want to put. I will leave it like this: project 2 sprint 1. And the timeline which I want to set is 2 weeks of sprint. Let me say I want 2 weeks sprint, and I will start it today. And again, automatically, as you kept 2 weeks, right, it will end after 2 weeks. That is on September 24th, it will end again. So you can also set up a goal saying that complete the login and your cart page. Okay, you can put a sprint goal also in this way, and you can scroll it down, and finally you can say start. So it is saying you have added 2 issues. 2 issues means those are 2 user stories are added in this sprint, and it is saying you what is your sprint name. The duration, you can put it as 2 weeks, and you can take your start date, and you can just also say it as your end date. If you can set up the duration as 2 weeks, so you can have your start date and end date. So as a sprint goal, you can complete your login and your cart page, and then immediately you can click on start button. The moment you click on start, see here, your board is reflected. This is how your board will look like where if you see, this is your project, I mean to say this is your sprint name. Now this is your sprint backlog, which is taken care by the development team. Here is your sprint goal: complete the login and cart page. Okay, complete the login and your cart page is your sprint goal. Now this is what you call as your sprint goal, and this is your sprint name. And here see, these are the 2 action items or 2 user stories which are in to do state. Now from to do, I can just, let me say I'm working in login page. It is in e-commerce platform. I mean to say login page is in progress right now. And then again, you can go and try to click on done if it is completed. So like this, you have to drag your user stories as and when you're working. Let me say if I'm working, it will be in progress, and then you can again complete once it is done. Okay, so now if you click on this, you can create one more column on your own. Let me say you have testing, you can say testing. Okay, and you can just say like this. Okay, so you can also put your testing, but make sure that before testing will come. Okay, so you will say cart page is in progress, and then once it is in testing state, you can put it in testing, and then you can say it is done. That's it. It's as simple as that. So let me collapse it. See, this is how my board looks like. Okay, this is my entire board, which would actually look like. Okay, so here you have your to do, in progress, testing, and then done. If you want to create one more column, that is totally up to you, and you can drag it wherever you want as per your flow. But this is how it will look like. Okay, the moment you create your sprint, this is how it will look. See, it says 10 days are remaining, because 2 weeks of sprint means 5 working days and another 5 working days. In 1 week, 5 working days. In second week, another 5 working days. So totally 10 working days. So 10 days it shows. And it will say that we are starting it today. So we will be ending it again on 24th September. Whenever you want to complete your sprint, you can click on complete a sprint. It will ask like whatever the issues which are left over, right? Now there is one issue got completed, one is in open state. Where do you want to push that? So I want this to push into backlog, and you can click on complete sprint. But you should not do this right now, because still 10 days is remaining. So you have to do this operation on your 24th of September. That's when you can click on complete sprint, and you can just click on the complete sprint button. That's it. You are set to be done with this part. Okay, nothing more than that you should be able to think of. Okay, so now there are 3 dots here. Whenever you want to go ahead and try to play with it, it's totally up to you. Like where you can edit your sprint. If you want to do anything, you can just be able to click on those 3 dots and you can play with it. This is how your board would actually look like. And this is how everything in the board will actually look, even in reality also. Okay, now again, if I click on this small expand button, okay, now if I go to my backlog, so this is how everything is present. Now I want to create one more sprint. See, already I am in sprint 1, but I want to create another sprint and leave it so that it can be helpful for me after 10 days. once my sprint 1 is completed. For that, what I should do? Go to your backlog. Here in the backlog, you have an option to create a sprint. In the backlog, you have an option to create a sprint. Click on a create sprint button. Okay. And just you can edit your sprint. See, automatically, if you can just say 2 weeks, you are going to start the sprint on the next immediate day, that is on 25th. Okay. And then leave it like that. Just update it and leave it. Okay. Just update and leave it. Whenever when we are going for 25th September, then we can pull the stories accordingly here. You can discuss on these stories. You can assign it. You can estimate it in the sprint planning and pull those items to your sprint 2. But before you do all these things, your sprint 1 should be completed. You have to complete your sprint. Then only you can be able to do anything inside your sprint 2. Okay. So is everyone clear? This is one of the major thing which every one of you should be able to understand.
So guys, this was our expert from Team K21 Academy, and if you want to have a deeper dive, then we have something really special for you. We have our free class on what is Scrum Master roles and responsibilities. Under this free class, we cover what is Agile in Scrum, what is a Scrum Master roles and responsibilities, and a lot of things that will make you have a better career in this domain. All you have to do is just log on to k21academy.com/scrum02, click on register now, select an event date according to your availability, add your name, your email address, your phone number, and click on yes, save my seat. Moving ahead, you'll be seeing this kind of interface. Just save that link on the extreme right, add it to your calendars, and I'll see you in the free class. Till then, take care and keep learning.